So a couple things happened. I think as we came into office, the first thing that was really important was that President Obama decided to put education kind of at the top of the list in terms of a priority. And I think in terms of, and really kind of seeing it as an investment for the long terms, in terms of jobs, and knowing that we need to have our kids educated in order to have the jobs that really are going to be here for the 21st century. So there was a decision early on to say, if we're really going to do that, we need to put the resources behind it. And so moving from the Recovery Act, moving forward, we put forth $4.3 billion to really say we need to shake things up. And what we need to do is to kind of really get the states to think about, if we're really going to get serious about a reform agenda, what kind of financial incentives could we put out there for them to come together across lines.
So $4.3 billion sounds like a lot of money. How does it compare in size to what the federal government is already giving states and schools?
So here's a good example. If you take every single education secretary before Arne Duncan, when the department became separate, so there have been 8 other kind of education secretaries, if you combined every single kind of discretionary dollar they had, it's less than the amount of money we put in Race to the Top alone.
Wow.
Now, in total kind of education reform programs, we've kind of put almost $10 billion. And so this is the kind of involvement from the federal level that you've just never seen in American history. And I think that's an important piece as a starting point.
But it wasn't as if it was just a giveaway. Didn't states and
Absolutely
school systems have to do certain things in response in order to qualify to get Race
Sure.
to the Top?
So this was a competitive process. So a couple things. One is we wanted to make sure that particularly for Latino students, for the students who are in most need, that a lot of the programs that were already in place, Title I, IDEA, those kinds of programs, that they stayed formula. English language learners, to make sure that those dollars were still coming in a formula way so that all states would still kind of get their fair share to be able to do their work. So when you look at the budget that the president has proposed, say moving into the next fiscal year, 80% of the budget is formula driven. But some of this new money, we decided it was important to kind of make it competitive because we wanted states to raise the bar. We didn't want to kind of dumb down the kind of expectations or the kind of standards that we'd like for them to kind of think about and to give them an incentive to come together. One of the things we heard so many times in the states was that while people had the interest of coming together, there wasn't enough there for them to really stop and everything they had on their plate to literally come together across those lines, particularly in the transition points. The K through 12 system sitting down with the community colleges, sitting down with higher ed, with adult ed, with special ed, and say, let's all get together and really dream a little bit about what's possible for the states. And that was kind of the idea, to kind of put this 20% of primarily new money in a competitive way.